What is going on, everybody? It is the day after National Signing Day for Georgia Tech. I did a whole, hour plus long show about it last night with the After Swarm guys, which I can't recommend highly enough their service. If you go into that live stream, their link is at the top of the live chat. But just wanted to come out and do a brief kind of recap. So we kind of had one surprise that went our way, one surprise that didn't go our way. But out of everybody that had committed, only 3 didn't sign. And that is at the time of recording this video. So one surprise was Demola Adenjuan or whatever. I think he's, I don't remember where he's out of. 4-star offensive tackle, a guy that Ohio State, Ole Miss, Alabama, who's who of South Carolina, people that were going after this kid. And I really think that needs to be the takeaway of what Georgia Tech's doing, what's different about Georgia Tech, why people should be excited if you're a Georgia Tech fan. We talked about it last night, but Georgia Tech has not been in recruiting battles with teams like this. Recruiting has been a problem at Georgia Tech for some time. When Brent Key first came to Georgia Tech, he was asked, you were just at Alabama, what was it like recruiting against Georgia Tech? And he said, I'll be honest with you guys, I hadn't recruited against Georgia Tech in a long time, and that needs to change. That's where he said recruiting is a battle. Recruiting is a war, year-round war. So you're seeing that kind of mentality with Key in this class. I think it's 22nd, 18, and 18 on the 3 services. So a top 25 class. But more important than that is some of the members in it. But we'll get back to Demola. So last minute he flips to South Carolina now. There's been a variety of explanations and or opinions on why that was. Some are abjectly stupid. I'll say this, Sylvain Yanjuan, Shanahan, Adam Gotsis, that Adachua kid, the list goes on. If you know, you know. But anyways, something going on besides just the recruiting. He flips to South Carolina. That one hurts. I really wanted that kid. We do sign, was it Joseph Payton, kid we flipped from Florida State. I mean, let's just go through the flips. We flipped Christian Garrett. Speaking of going after, going after kids that the big boys recruiting. Flip Christian Garrett from UGA. Elgin Sessions, we flipped from West Virginia at the last minute. Jordan Allen, kid out of Buford, we flipped from Louisville. And then, so we talked about bad surprise. Good surprise, we flip a running back, Marshall Marshall. So I'm doing this in my truck. From Minnesota, a kid that's 5'11", 200 pounds. I think he runs at 11.4, or that's what it's listed at, 247 100 meter. Kid that could be like a JP Mason type. Might not have the most impressive just breakaway speed, but he's a strong kid. So we end up flipping him. Now, I'm not as concerned with the overall recruiting ranking, though, hey, being in the top 25, right now the 2nd overall class in the ACC is huge, but it's some of the pieces that compose this class as to what I'm happy with. Tay Harris, what kid we flipped from Clemson, top 50 player, guy that's a day one player for you. Guy Key talked about some in his press conference after. He's a defensive back. He's just a guy that's out for blood, man. Big time hitter, big time athlete. A guy that a lot of people wanted, and Clemson is definitely hurting that we flipped him from there. Now, other thing, Dalen Pinson, a guy that just, I'm driving through Marietta. Of course, we've got every road shut down. No one knows how to drive, especially around Metro Atlanta. They get hit with a stupid pills or something, and they don't know how to drive. But anyways, Dalen Pinson, a guy that just came off of a recruiting visit to USC. Here's the other thing with recruiting we talked about last night. Kids are being paid to visit, if you didn't know. $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, whatever, $5,000. Kids are being paid just to visit. So that throws a whole other wrinkle into the NIL landscape. But Dalen Pinson was a guy a lot of people wanted. Dalen Pinson, another day one guy for you that I've even seen like possibly playing both ways. He's got tremendous speed. I think, is he listed at cornerback? Maybe he's listed at cornerback. Probably will return kicks for us. But a huge get there. In fact, we've got 5 right now. We've got 5 ESPN top 300 guys. Look, we should go ahead and talk about Josh Petty. That news might break while I'm uploading this video. I guess that's another surprise. Josh Petty did not sign yesterday. There's also been a variety of opinions on that. I've even seen some people in the Georgia Tech Facebook groups that are like, should we stop recruiting this kid? You guys are absolutely out of your minds. Should we stop recruiting the kid? No. I mean, this is the way that it is. This is the reality of recruiting today. He's expected to sign. Multiple different outlets have said he is expected to sign by the end of the day today. That's why I'm saying he might end up signing. Will he be the highest recruit Georgia Tech's ever signed? Maybe. I'm sure someone smarter than me knows that. But this is ridiculous, man. They're doing some, I guess, Christmas parade here. We've got every road shut down in downtown Marietta. Anyway, but I'm sure Josh Petty will sign. Biggest need we have is defensive line. I think we're losing 5 or 6. We're losing Zeke Biggers. We're losing, I think, Makia Scott, Kevin Harris, Sylvain Yanjuan. How the hell did we have an international player on our team? That's weird, isn't it? We're losing Thomas Gore, kid who transferred from Miami that didn't I don't remember doing a ton for us, but it's still a guy we lose. And we do bring in some nice pieces on the defensive line. Derry Norris, a guy out of Port Orange, Florida, commits, signs yesterday. A guy that Miami desperately wanted. Georgia Tech is able to sign him. And he's a guy that could come in and I'm not going to say be a starter day one. He's a guy that's going to play, though. He's a guy that could end up like Taj Butler, who, doesn't see a ton of reps early on, but you see him in the second half of the season, and he ends up contributing for you. Now, we already talked about Christian Garrett out of Prince Avenue. Another reason why that's such a good get for Georgia Tech, other than flipping him from Georgia, is you flip a kid out of Georgia's backyard. From Prince Avenue, that's where Aaron Philo came from, 15 minutes from the University of Georgia, also where Buster Faulkner's kid goes. Where Bailey Stockton also came out of. Andre Fuller out of Grayson. We talked about that last night. Grayson's a football factory, so getting your foot in there, getting kids, developing them from Grayson, and, building that relationship with that high school in Loganville is huge. Andre Fuller's a big guy, strong guy, that'll come in on that defensive line. I think we got 4 or 5 defensive line commitments. And actually, I think we have 5 defensive line commitments and 5 offensive line commitments pending Josh Petty coming in. JP Powell, a guy that we interviewed on the channel, a guy that I actually reached out to before National Signing Day, just said, hey, running back out of Miller County. When we interviewed him, he was a 3-star, got bumped to a 4-star. Don't see the Georgia Tech bump much, do you? Sent me a message, said, hey, I'm just ready, excited to get on the flats and get to work. You know, a guy that never wavered from his commitment from Georgia Tech. And I'm excited to see. I'm excited to see. Wide receiver, we talked about Jordan Allen. Jordan Allen's the kid we flipped from Louisville. Kind of smaller, listed at 5'7", 5'8". Amazing speed, a guy that reminds you a lot of Malik Rutherford. Excited to have him on. Elgin Sessions, we talked about flipping from West Virginia. Who else do we need to talk about? Let's talk about big picture stuff. Because there's 22 commits, and I'm driving and I'm getting upset, and I don't want to wreck. No pun intended. Wreck Talk doesn't need to wreck because he gets upset. Big picture, retaining J-Bat was huge. If you listen to After Swarm when they were on last night, their understanding is that was a done deal to South Carolina. That was a done deal. And in the 11th hour, we snatch victory from the jaws of defeat and extend J-Bat to a 5-year deal. It's no coincidence, and it's every bit as much on J-Bat as it is Brent Key and staff that you sign your first 5-star in this class. That you it's no coincidence you're flipping kids from Georgia. It's no coincidence that you're winning recruiting battles now with the Ohio States and whoever of the world. That a lot of that rests on the shoulder of J-Bat, and you retain him, right? From a staff level, Brent Key himself said, look, when you come work, you're a coach at Georgia Tech, you're first and foremost, you're a recruiter. If you're in one of these guys that's not, just ready to get after it on the recruiting trail, you're not going to be working for Brent Key. And I don't think it can be understated. Really the trajectory and what he's doing at Georgia Tech. Now, on the other end of it, take a guess. I talked to C-Dog about this today. What North Carolina is ranked in recruiting right now? And if you didn't know before I asked, I can almost guarantee you'll be wrong. Take a guess. 50th? No. Higher. 60th? That's too good. Still higher. 70th? No. North Carolina is currently ranked 89th in the 2025 recruiting class after National Signing Day. After National Signing Day. Their highest rated recruits is named Butts. The man's name is Butts, is your best recruit. I don't think, as bad as Georgia Tech has been at times, we've ever recruited that poorly. That's an embarrassment. I get you're going through a coaching transition, which is, Mac Brown and North Carolina can't agree to save their lives on, how that ended or how it should have ended. There's no excuse for being 89th in recruiting, though. Now, on the other end, Florida State hires Gus Malzahn, who is the head coach at Central Florida. Convinces him to take a downgrade in position, become the OC at Florida State, where all those Florida State fans that were telling me how great Alex Adkins is, or they weren't going to miss him or whatever. Gus Malzahn's been on a tear. Florida State's flipped multiple 4 or 5-star recruits. They're in the top 25 now. They went from having a decommit class that was one decommit away from being higher ranked than their current class to jumping to third in the ACC. So they've been on a tear. The sad thing is it's not going to matter. It's not like they haven't recruited well. Or any of these guys, maybe they did flip a quarterback. I think they did flip a quarterback. But Norvell's not going to be able to develop them, so who cares? But yeah, I guess shout out to Florida State. Florida State goes 2-10, the biggest disaster in college football, and they're recruiting like 3 times better than North Carolina. Georgia Tech doing even better than that, coming off the heels of the worst stretch in history. Do believe Georgia no longer has the number 1 class. Who they get? I think they got jumped by Alabama and Texas. Oregon made some huge moves. They flipped a 5-star plus from Ohio State. Ohio State cannot stop losing and making fools of themselves. And that will end up being its own video. I do think Ryan Day needs to be fired. That they've got some major problems. I was talking with my dad. He said that Ohio State fans hope they lose in the first round of the playoffs. So there's no question as to whether they can fire Ryan Day or not. But anyways, I guess I'll end the video there. I think there's a lot of things to be excited about. Obviously, a top 25 class for Georgia Tech. And then, there's going to be Georgia fans that come in here and troll and laugh. You going to let me come out? I just had to stare down this idiot. I'm glad you guys got to see some of my road rage today. Top 25 class for Tech. But look, you got to build things one, item at a time. One item at a time. There's longevity here. You've got a good foundation. You got the right man at the helm. You extend your AD. You've got maybe one of the most underrated staffs in the country right now, which for the moment we're holding together. Maybe more on that later. But let me know what you think. If you're a Tech fan, what do you think about this class? Who are you excited about? And we'll talk to you guys later.